Shit. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. All right. This is Sport for Real with the great, or great trying to be, Coach Hall. I don't have to tell you this, but this is Super Bowl Sunday, and everybody has been waiting for this game. And maybe you're not interested in the game, but maybe you're interested in history. As you know, the Chiefs are going for a historic three-peat. Be the first time a team would have won three straight in the Super Bowl era. However, it's the first team to win three straight Super Bowls if they're able to do it. But when you start talking about Super Bowl era, that's not quite correct, because the Green Bay Packers, they won the last Super Bowl, 65, before the Super Bowl began the following year. Then they won the first two Super Bowls. So in essence, Green Bay can still be considered the first three-peat champion in the Super Bowl era, because they won the last one and they got the first two. So the Packers still first team over everybody else. But to have three straight Super Bowls, well, no team has ever done that. And that's why everybody's all excited. And they're going to go to this, they're going to watch this game tonight, and they're going to see, look to see if Mahomes and Kansas City can pull it off. Because they've been winning, just like New England, nobody really wants to see Kansas City win it, except for the Kansas City fans. They want to see Kansas City fall hard on their face. And it's a good chance that that could happen. But to beat the Chiefs, you don't have to beat the Chiefs. You have to beat fate. You have to beat any untimely call that you may get. All of these things play into what's going to happen tonight. But I think in the end, we're not going to get too much shenanigans, because there's too much talk about it, and the world is looking for such things. And I don't think that's going to happen this time. I think if you're going to beat Kansas City, you're going to have to beat them. If you give Mahomes the ball in the last drive, he's probably going to beat you. If they pull away from you, take away Saquon Barkley, they're probably going to beat you. So the only way to beat this team, you're going to have to hit them in the mouth and get rid of them early. In the same way that the Eagles came out and jumped on Washington, they're going to have to do something similar to that tonight. It still comes down to, can Barkley run the football? If Barkley can't get off and you force Jalen Hurts to beat you solely with his passing, then it could be a long night for the Eagles. But I think it's going to be a balanced affair. And just like life, you got one shot. There's no redos like in basketball where you can not show up three times and still win a championship. You get one shot. And if you fall behind too early, fall behind too far too early, you don't have a shot, just like in life. And that's why I like football. And I know a lot of people like football. And just like you have the violence in life, you can get violence in football. Not that you want to be a victim or see somebody get hurt, but there's nothing wrong with getting knocked down on the ground every now and then and pick yourself up. A lot of people like that about football. So they're going to be looking to see somebody get hit tonight, and they're looking to see if they can win some money tonight. And then a lot of people are looking to see, can they get the three-peat. Well, there's a lot to unpack here. How you doing, Robert Maxey? Say we play like we did against Washington. This game was in the bag. Yeah, if you could jump out to a quick start. But I think in order to beat Kansas City, I think you have to beat them. And none of that one or two point stuff. You got to put some space between you and the Chiefs. Otherwise, you put yourself in position to get knocked off. But speaking of Barkley, I think Barkley may have a little trouble getting started tonight because the whole focus is going to be on stopping Barkley. If they can stop Barkley, that will give the Chiefs tremendous advantage. And I think the NFL coaches, they're smart. They figure out things and they look down the line and see what could happen. So everybody in the world expecting Barkley to be hot and heavy early in the game. Well, Sirianni might be thinking, well, because they're thinking that, let's start out with some play action. Maybe we might go deep on the first play. Maybe we might want to do something with another back or show you something that you hadn't seen before and run a wrinkle off a play action to Barkley. And maybe you can catch Kansas City, much in the way Kansas City caught Buffalo with that corner zone blitz they put on them to knock off Buffalo. You're gonna have to do things like that and be creative because these coaches they've had 2 weeks, and you just bet they've gone back and they watch every game and every play that the teams have run all year. They're gonna go back to the time that they played in the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. They're gonna go back and look at everything that they can find to see what kind of wrinkle that they can spring out on that team to possibly get an advantage. And because of that, I think they may start out early with a play action to Barkley and see if they can catch Kansas City napping. But otherwise, Spagnuolo, I think, is going to use a similar game plan to what they did with Baltimore last year. You want to take away the run between the tackles first. If you're able to do that and do it in a way that you kind of like contain the quarterback from bouncing outside, then you force the quarterback into a position where he has to beat you with his arm. Now, Hurts, he didn't play that great in the semifinal game, but in the championship game, he actually threw the ball pretty well. But one thing that you have to notice about the Eagles, everything is all rhythm and timing, and he has to hit it quick. When he play actions, if it's there, he's going to hit it. But if you got it covered, what does he do? He runs around, and eventually he throws it away. If he doesn't have an alley to escape the pocket and nobody is there right away, then he has to eat it or get sacked. And if the Chiefs, if they can stop that quick hitter and keep him from getting running lanes, then that will cause a problem for Philadelphia. And that's what Kansas City is going to try to do. Now, on the flip side of that, Philadelphia's got that front four that could put pressure on Mahomes and possibly get a couple sacks and some pressures to make a difference in the game. This game's got eerie similarities to Super Bowl 42. You know, in this game, everybody is talking about the three-peat and how great it would be to see a team do that right now in the Super Bowl era. And like I said, they really aren't the first team. It would be the first team with 3 Super Bowls in a row. But Green Bay is still the first team in the Super Bowl era to get a three-peat. They won the last regular championship, and they won the first 2 Super Bowls. So that's the same thing as in the modern era. But this relates to Super Bowl 42 when New England came in undefeated. Everybody was around the world was so excited, and they just knew it was in the bag that New England was going to go undefeated after taking care of the Giants. But they overlooked the fact that the Giants were playing superior football. They were running the football. They were playing great defense. They weren't making mistakes by turning the ball over, and they had good special teams. And they had a front four that can get after Brady. The key to all of that was they had 4 weeks of preparation. Well, how do you get 4 weeks of preparation, Coach? Well, if you're not aware of this, in the NFL, when these guys have preseason games, they don't just fly in and play a game and leave like in the regular season. No, they're practicing with their opponents, joint practices during the week. And it culminates with the preseason game at the end of the week. That's why you have games that happen on Thursdays and Fridays, because they've been there all week practicing. So they had a week with New England that year. They played them in the regular season. That's 2 weeks to get ready. And then they had 2 weeks to get ready for the Super Bowl. So they had 4 weeks to get ready for them. And again, like I said, they had that front four. And they got out to Brady and put pressure on him. And what they learned over that 4 week preparation enabled them to slow down the superior New England team. Make no mistakes about it. That was a superior team over everybody. But the Giants had that advantage by having that extra preparation time. And the fact that I think New England might have got caught up in the hysteria of everybody thinking they were going to go undefeated. Well, they were excited about it too, forgetting that maybe they still got to go play a game. Well, I think Kansas City is in the same position. Everybody's all excited about them getting the three-peat. They're not as good as New England was, so that lets you know that they can get beat. And the Eagles are playing defense much in the way that the Giants were playing defense then. They got a front four that can get out to Mahomes just like the Giants got out to Brady. So it's a lot of ways that the Eagles can win this game. And a lot of people are making a big deal out of officiating. There's a part of that. But I don't see that as taking place tonight because too many eyes are on it and people are going to be looking for certain things. And the NFL's rep is on the line. It's not a problem getting a bad call, but for bad calls to constantly go the same team's way all the time, that's not right. There's something wrong with that. And NFL doesn't want that label hanging on their backs. So people are going to be watching for that tonight. But speaking of Philadelphia, if you recall that NFC Championship game, that tush push they call it, virtually unstoppable play. I mean, there's really not a whole lot you can do about it. And if you saw that Washington, they were trying to jump over the pile and they kept getting called for all sides penalties. And the refs have a clause where if the same thing keeps happening, they can award a team a score. And because of that, there's really not much you can do. Now, if you think about it, even though it's a legal play, none of that really looks like a football play. These are like rugby scrums. And the league, I think, is going to take a close look at it and may actually outlaw this play because of the things that Washington had to go through to try to stop this play. But I think what's going to happen if they don't outlaw the play, one of your quarterbacks is somebody's going to get hurt. If you see that Washington couldn't stop it, it's going to be a team that say, hey, man, there's nothing we can do about it, so we might as well go for broke. And that's their quarterback. We can't hit him no other time, right? Well, he is in the scrum under the pile. So eventually somebody, defensive lineman, is going to grab him by the neck and squeeze his throat. Far too long to be a problem. And he's going to go back to the sideline and tell his coaches what happened. And that's going to be the end of the quarterback running that play. Well, if it continues, what you're going to see is like what Baltimore has done. They took the tight end, Mark Andrews, and have him running up in there. You got a bigger body, more expendable, and, no harm, no foul. But if the quarterback keeps jamming up in there, if you want to stop the tush push, just grab that quarterback by his throat. And I guarantee you that'll stop. Don't believe me? Patrick Mahomes was doing that for a minute until he come out of the pile limping one time. He hadn't run that since. Same thing is going to happen to Hurts. I'm not wishing him no bad luck. I don't want to see anybody get hurt, but I'm telling you the way the defenses think. I can't stop you no other way, or I find a way to do something to slow you down. And I guarantee you somebody's going to put a meat hook around his neck, and that's going to stop a lot of that stuff. But it's interesting that the league, they make all these rule changes on a consistent basis, and I think they're going to take a look at that tush push, and you might not see it no more after this year, at least in the form that you have it now. But expect to see that play come into play today, and it's going to be a pretty effective when they get a chance to use it, because I hadn't seen anybody stop that on a consistent basis. They've been stuffed a few times, but that's perfect timing by the defense getting off the ball. But if you start playing with the snap count, you're going to get the same thing that happened to Washington, and it's going to be a bunch of offside penalties, and it's going to be in the favor of the offense. So that's just some things to look for today. But right now, the Chiefs are favored by a point. I don't even know why they score a game so tight, because, if it's all about money, I don't see how you can make money off a situation like that. It's pretty much a pick'em game. So I'm not a betting guy, but I'm trying to figure out how they determine these spreads. But that the point and a half, that's really not much of a cushion there. It's not even, to me, something worthy of even betting on. But the key to all of these things when it comes to betting is the different intangibles that they have that you can bet on. And I think that's what a lot of people get excited on. They already, with these Super Bowl parties, they talk during the game. You're not really paying attention to the game. And now that you have these betting things, that allows people to be more attached to the game because they can follow along in different fashions. So that would make the game interesting for a lot of different reasons. But for purists like myself, we don't care about none of that. I don't care nothing about the Super Bowl halftime. I don't care nothing about who's in the stands. None of that. I just want to see some football. And this is why I don't go to these parties, because I want to see the game, not listen to people getting into arguments and talk about everything else but the game. I learned that a long time ago. And because of that, I won't stick to myself and watch it. That way I can enjoy the game for what it really is. But what do you guys think? I'm not getting any, nobody's talking to me today. I see I got a few people out there. I put the poll question out there. Will Chiefs win again? Let's see. I got 2 responses so far. Right now it's 50-50. I think that's the way the game is pretty much going to go. I hadn't made any definitive picks on the game, but I like the way that the Eagles, they got that look about them. And I got a feeling they're going to knock Kansas City off. But, a lot of conspiracy theories say the game is fixed and it's already predetermined that Kansas City is going to win the game. I'm not so sure about that. I can't go for that at all. I think that too much is on the line, and when you want to be a champion, you may not never get to this championship game again, and you're going to give it all you got. And I just don't see how you can choreograph all of these things to come together at the same time to determine a preset outcome. Yeah, I just don't see how that is possible. The movies, yes, but not in real life. I just don't see it happening. Could some backhanded, undecided stuff take place? Of course. But I don't see how they can do it, so I won't get too deep into that. But I was hoping that somebody would come on and go back and forth with me. But, I don't have that. But I know you guys are just as excited. I don't want to talk too long. I just want to come on and give my predictions for the game. I'm thinking that Philadelphia is going to win this game. I don't think Barkley is going to be effective early. I think he's going to come on later as the game goes on. But early in the game, I think Kansas City is going to have a way to slow him down. And if they're able to slow Barkley down for most of the game, then Kansas City would be the favorite to win. But I think that as the game goes on, Barkley is going to get stronger. I think he's going to slow him down in the first quarter. But after that, he's going to start to build momentum, and he's going to do pretty well in the second half. And as long as the Eagles don't turn the ball over, which they haven't been doing in the playoffs, I think they're going to pull this win out. Last time they played a couple years ago, Eagles pretty much were the better team, in my opinion. Kansas City got some calls to go their way, and things happened to keep them in the game. And Eagles didn't have Barkley. But now they got Barkley, somebody that can run the football and control that line of scrimmage. And I think that's going to make the difference. They got that look in their eye. Everybody's kind of overlooking them because of Kansas City's and what they're trying to accomplish. And I think because of that, I think the Eagles are going to find a way to win this game. But that's just my opinion. What do you guys have to say? Nobody's talking. So I'm going to wrap this up. Got to go to another meeting, so I'm going to try it again in about 3:30, and maybe we can get more of a banter then. I tried to go through StreamYard, but for whatever reason, that didn't get out. With StreamYard, you can bring people on, and they can, we can go back and forth in a panel-like discussion. And for whatever reason, I don't think that signal got out, so I had to come back through the traditional means. And I'm going to try it again. If I can get that to work, great. Zoom is the same way. Don't work like it's supposed to, not for me anyway. But at any rate, I'll be back on about 4 o'clock, and we're going to talk with anybody that wants to go back and forth about what you think is going to happen today. I only got one comment, and that was Robert Maxey. He told me, we play like we did against Washington, and this game is in the bag. I think you have a great chance to put it in the bag if you play like you did against Washington. But I think Washington, had they not turned the ball over as many times as they did, then you would have had a much better game. But you can't blame the Eagles for that. That's Washington's fault. That's their problem. Um, but hopefully we don't have one of those high turnover games where, when one team's doing all the turnover, and that's when games get out of hand, when you have one team helping the other team like that. And nobody wants to see that. We all want to see a great game, and I think that's what we're going to see. So I'm going to step off. I'm going to come back in about an hour, and I'm going to see if we can get another group of people who wants to chime in and express themselves about what they think is going to take place today. And we'll go from there. So until then, this has been Sports for Real. I'll catch you guys on the other side. I'm out.